Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the World's Qualifier Gauntlet, where KingZone are now at match point against the Afreeca Freecs.
And looking good doing it, Atlas. We roll in the music late, just like KingZone's comeback in the last 2 games. And they've been doing it on the red side. So, Afreeca's last side selection, do they have to choose red? Because they chose, remember, when they chose blue, it was when they'd already won game number 1.
Exactly.
Then it was flipped. The script was flipped in a big way. And now, suddenly, we probably, you would imagine, have to have it disrupted. But we don't have that confirmation just yet.
And how do things change if that gets flipped over as well? Because then the Gragas first pick option is going to go into the hands of Cuzz. And I actually think that that is more deadly than Dread being able to pick that one up for
And there's
himself.
other scary realities, like easier to ban Taliyah on blue side. They've already shown they have one management strategy for it, but not something you give up lightly. The Afreeca Freecs teams around the LCK banning that Taliyah very reliably. So I know what you're saying. It frees up some resources. From a Afreeca perspective, it frees up a counter pick. And Ucal and Kiin are 2 laners you respect to be able to wield a counter pick. It's going to have to be, you know, with it backs against the wall, but that is the scenario they find themselves in. So really looking for a big counter pick here from the side of Afreeca Freecs to get them over the line and force that all-important game 5.
And will it mean that the Aatrox, the Ucal, these sorts of things are going to slip through? Because I don't know whether they are going to be blue side bans for KingZone. But there's only one way to find out.
Here's
so
what I'll
say.
say. I'll answer your question with my opinion.
Okay.
I'm more scared of Cuzz's Gragas than Rascal's Aatrox.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's with full knowledge of Aatrox's power, though. So, let's see what the consideration is as KingZone Dragon X. They had Yuumi banned against them the entire series.
On blue side as well, yeah.
Now they are going to be the ones opting into a red side Yuumi availability. First pick Gragas basically being screamed at the top of the lungs.
Well, Xayah and Yuumi have been banned, the Varus also, so Aatrox, Akali, these sort of champions, Ezreal, going to be flirted with. The Akali finally going to be banned here by the Afreeca Freecs. The last ban could go to the Aatrox, and if you're going to ban one of them, you probably should ban both, right?
Gragas Ezreal first pick is the big story here. They banned the Taliyah, the no red side Taliyah. Dread also an accomplished Taliyah player, we should remember. So, do they ban Gragas or Aatrox is the question to Afreeca, or do they leave them both open and take the one not selected? They leave them both open. They will ban the Karma, and KingZone could not have thought less about gleefully locking in Aatrox. Do they lose Gragas Ezreal for this selection? With Kai'Sa open, maybe they don't care.
Well, the Jace is being hovered at the moment, but I have a feeling that the Ezreal priority should certainly be through the roof. As far as things that were banned in the previous series, the Xayah, of course, once again, going to be on the ban list. Rakan was banned for some reason in game number 3, but the Kai'Sa is going to be locked down, and Kai'Sa Nautilus could come in here if Afreeca just want to take a solid bottom lane.
And Ezreal Tom available as the answer for KingZone
if they want it.
So let's see if they actually do go for the Kai'Sa, or if they go for the Gragas here, you would think. Is also something to talk about.
I think Gragas should be locked in, but it's not going to be. The
play with
Silas
fire a little bit here and take the Silas here. That gives up Gragas if KingZone want it.
Whoa, that was a very fast Lucian Braum.
Baby, we're going Lucian Braum on the blue side. Remember, there was a Lucian ban, I believe, in game number 2 of this series, so it is something that's cropping up. Upset, for example, defaulting to the Lucian on patch 9.16 a little bit more. There are buffs, remember, to this champion in recent patches.
Getting a bit of extra damage, and actually stacks up. It's a per bullet damage buff, so even when those numbers only go up a little bit, it's a lot of bullets. As the Nautilus does eventually come in, so bottom lane's locked down for both teams, and a jungler or a solo laner in for the Afreeca Freecs in the Silas, and top or mid lane in the Aatrox. I'd expect that to go into the hands of Rascal, though they are not necessarily known for playing the mid lane Aatrox.
Do you ban Gragas or do you ban Sejuani? So not Sejuani. Do you ban Gragas or do you ban Karthus? It's a kind of interesting thing to consider here.
That's true. I mean,
because
there is an Aatrox,
remember their comps they've run Pyke Aatrox Karthus, they've run all sorts of different Karthus and Aatrox combinations. And Karthus was banned in game number 1 of the series. They're going to go with what they've seen recently in the Gragas. Understandable.
Oh, yes. I think the Rek'Sai Gragas are definitely the bands that you want to be going with against Cuzz.
Give me Kindred versus Cardinals. That's what I want to see from the jungle.
Yes.
But that would probably require you to show something, and of course that would require Silas to lane. The Rise will be banned, and Afreeca, who you would imagine want to last pick for their superstar Kiin, could also consider just assuming Rascal will be on Aatrox duty and picking a strong top lane option. Now, Gangplank could be strong here. Jace is a possibility. They will go the way of Jace.
Still, a flex could be played by Ucal, so might be holding on to Kiin's pick, might be holding on to Dread's pick, and might be holding on to Ucal's pick. So excellent use of red side so far for the Afreeca Freecs, as Kingzone have to round out their composition. Now, where is the Aatrox going? And where
Nico
is
Karthus
Cuzz
here?
going?
Or maybe an AD mid laner in Karthus? Is
I'd
a
like
way
it.
they've drafted before. They're going to stick with Naehyun's form pick in the LeBlanc mid lane that he played in the most recent game. I thought maybe Nico for some more zone controls to allow Aatrox and Lucian to do their thing.
Also
Instead,
still
it's the
holding on to
threat.
the flex option as well, because Nico can be played by Rascal. It's a pretty high level as well. Rascal, a big fan of the Nico, in patches past, of course.
Who's jungling? We ask of Kingzone Dragon X.
Is it time for Nidalee?
Huh.
No, it's not. It's time for Jarvan.
Pick power here. LeBlanc, Jarvan do a thing. If the tether hits, you die. It's usually the way it goes. And Afreeca, with full information, knowing it will be Aatrox top, might be giving Kiin something that a lot of Korean teams have moved away from. Was prepping with the Korean casters before the LCK final. They were adamant that Kennen was gone, at least for that particular series. A lot of teams have moved away from it. There's been a lot of community outcry in Korea, among the Korean community, about the 80 on hit Kennen that we're probably expecting here. Could be AP as well, given they're pretty low on AP damage, but you would assume it's Kiin wanting to take over the game.
And also the reason why they put Silas into the jungle as well is because he is a source of magic damage alongside aiming as well, depending on what his build is going to be.
You're not forced to go, though. You
Yeah.
can go AP Kennen and win for a time, and obviously hit those mid-game fights running, because Kingzone have just about all of the mid-game tools. In fact, at 2 items, they have Lucian, LeBlanc, and Aatrox who say, actually, we're pretty good here. Anything else is great.
And a pretty stock standard comp coming in from Kingzone as well. I mean, you augment it with the J4, and it just does stuff in the mid-game relatively effectively. And Cuzz is going to have a lot of agency earlier on as well. So a very different look here for game number 4 as we're coming in, and we'll see whether Kingzone can use this composition you see on your screen right here to bring themselves into another best of 5 against Sandbox.
A very interesting best of 5. Well, we will wonder how Sandbox will rock up after their capitulation, their mental destruction against SK Telecom, where we remember Summit spent most of the series running it down.
Yes.
Actually running it down.
Sandbox did not really offer much resistance to SKT, who did eventually, you know, run the full gauntlet.
How are the kids doing the resistance in the clutch? The kids of Afreeca Freecs need to fight back, otherwise this series is done after game 4.
Yep, the young boys onto the Rift for the 4th time here tonight. Let's get into it. Game number 4, Kingzone versus Afreeca. Well, it's still in the afternoon hours as far as Summoner's Rift is concerned, but we are well into the night here in Korea.
Pause. Not long enough for us to go from dusk till dawn, but we'll see what we can do.
There's anything of note, having a look down?
Ability Power Cannon is going to be coming out in this game. So Kiin says, enemy team has a lot of pick power and wants to play at 2 items. I'm going to opt into some AoE burst and crowd control of my own. In fact, I can't remember the last time Kiin played not on hit cannon. He is definitely known much more for that than the AP variant, so something a little bit different from Afreeca's top lane.
And also going to get some hella value out of the Morellonomicon, which I think is fun. As Electrocutes traded here in the mid lane as the minions do crash. Note that Ucal has taken the Ignite. He really wants to play aggressively in this lane this time.
Don't recommend an electrocution party at home, but that's what we saw in this particular area. Dread is going to be starting on a ward, so actually the level 1 vision advantage does spot the side of the map that Dread is starting on.
But look at how many defensive wards there are for Afreeca. There are 4 wards around the jungle to try and keep Dread safe in these early stages of the game.
Want to really guarantee his 3 camps on the top side before he starts brawling, and potentially ward off a cheese gank from the Jarvan on the top side, perhaps. Kenan can't do much of the AP variety if he blows his flash early. Even more costly than the AD variant sometimes. That was Naehyun's first LeBlanc game of Summer, so
Yeah.
nicely done by him.
Not a bad one. In fact, the only positive win ratio as far as these champions are concerned. So, see whether Kingzone can fix that one, as Senan's probably going to get stunned up here. But losing out on that trade is aiming a lot of damage without any threat on him.
Guardian versus Aftershock. Nautilus will always get value out of that Keystone if it's available.
But if there's a follow-up engage here from Kingzone, that's when the opportunities start coming in. And now Cuzz is making his way down. He's been so active, aiming, flashing so early, knowing that Cuzz was probably on the way in, and even manages to get the longest flash ever, and aiming's going to burn down to the red buff. It should be a double kill here, but Senan gets the Titan's Wrath back. Dread dives on in, but that's called inting, my friends. Double kill for Cuzz.
Don't really know what to say about the secondary part there. Dread just completely misread the scenario. After all the damage was done, he decided to park over the double buffs as a tribute. Kingzone get what feels like the biggest mental edge in the early game, and we knew that Afreeca would struggle from behind. Probably did not anticipate it to be quite that level. As speaking of the mid lane plays with tethers, at least Cuzz's flash is down.
Exactly, and there's an acceleration gate there, so Ucal not going to have to use the flash. Does miss the empowered shock blast though, which means that Naehyun is going to be very comfortable here in this lane, despite the CS margin not necessarily reflecting things that are good for the lane. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it goes over to Cuzz, so high value there for Afreeca. Senan decides to spend some time under the turret, gets stunned, and with the turret aggro there as well, Aftershock is not going to save you from that trade.
Really should stop trifling with Lucian Braum.
Yeah.
You forget sometimes, because the lane is a bit out of favor, and Korea famously didn't really know how to use it. If any duo in Korea can play kill lane, speaking of kill.
Yeah, he's the one with the Ignite, but now Naehyun's chasing after him. The Ignite is going to go down there as Naehyun throws his clone to try and block some abilities. Gets himself the siege minion, but now will have to go back home. Teleport is available, but he's the one with the flash down now. As Dread's parked on the bottom side.
Deft has no reason to look for any aggressive harass here, and they know the likelihood is they're dealing with an aggro bot.
Okay.
Like TusiN and Deft have played this perfectly. Even if a gank is found, the amount of time they've wasted is insane.
Yeah, and now he goes back home. So
and they would have scouted him.
Absolutely nothing.
And they would have scouted him if he stayed. Like, that is veteranship of bot lane. Remember when we used to praise Smev for always knowing that how to play around theoretical jungle attention? That is Deft and TusiN putting on a masterclass of playing around the potential for a jungler. This was the all-in. In case you guys are wondering. Now, Cuzz did not hit the EQ flash, but it didn't matter because it
was the concussive blows,
and
right?
That's right. At the moment that the concussive blows start stacking up, you can go for that same play that would look very silly if you didn't have it. Please, can someone explain to me what Dread is doing here?
Okay!
Just bad.
I mean, you can just go back to the play-by-play. I think it didn't take too many words to explain the situation. Unfortunate.
But veteran players really do come up trumps in important games, and they absolutely played Afreeca's trio at that point like a fiddle.
Yeah. And as far as the comms are concerned, things pretty healthy between the teams as well.
Here's Cuzz.
Sorry, between the players on Kingzone's side.
Just rolling around as Cinderhulk Jarvan. This is going to be one of those Jarvans that just no one can kill.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's pretty much set up for a pretty comfortable game. This time around, no one can contest his clearing of all of these control wards, and now there's an Infernal Drake for Kingzone to augment their already fantastic early game with. This is called a sandwich, ladies and gentlemen. Dread dives on over the top, but Naehyun's already killed the Kai'Sa as an afterthought. The chain's going to go wide, but the Winter's Bite is there. Senan able to create enough distance, but you can see the vision certainly there for Kingzone. Rascal's even pushing in on the top side as a flow-on effect from Kingzone's early game. Feels like the mental of the Afreeca Freecs has officially broken, and Kingzone have overcome their horror of a final part of summer. Better late than never, Papa.
I think we got some muted mics on the side of Afreeca. Why is the duo lane roaming up when LeBlanc is already basically on top of them and Jace wasn't able to rotate? Seems like the comms are falling apart, the team is falling apart. Definitely understand what's going on the side of Afreeca and just can't be surprised by it. Again, this is a roster that we're really hoping sticks together for 2020 because it's a 2019 development project with a lot of young, talented players, but still plenty of developing to do.
It is an investment of a roster.
That's
I
why if it gets destroyed, like if 2 players leave, then you kind of wonder why they bothered, right?
Exactly.
Because it just never could achieve something in the short term. It had to be a building project because of what it's lacking, which is really any veteranship or obvious shot calling. So we're hoping that we'll see the best of it next year. For King Zone, this spot lane is pretty much done.
Yeah, this is a pretty comfortable scenario. As Kiin going for the Gunblade build, does have the Bilgewater Cutlass just to help the laning phase even more. As Kleptomancy going to help him get a whole bunch of that money. And if he's auto-attacking the enemy champion, the lifesteal can certainly help out. As in comes Cuzz, and out goes Kiin. Vision available there as Senan gets himself back to the comfort of the turret, but how much comfort is there? Oh my god, okay. Senan's going to survive. Only barely. Thankfully, he's got a relic shield to get that health bar back, but Deft just demonstrating the buff to the culling. It hurts.
I'm much more familiar with the dulling, which is whenever I try to use the culling.
Yeah, me too.
Oh boy, that was a lot of damage. The press the attack proc really puts it over the edge, and the buff wasn't even there at level 1, so that was just old culling doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, Deft using basically the last remnants of his mana just to try and harass aiming out here as we get a bit of a zoom in. Real cute one.
Deft is,
yeah, he's a comfortable boy right now.
It's very nice to see at least once. Even if they go on to lose to Sandbox, it's nice that we saw this Deft, you know?
And this Deft and TusiN combo, right?
So
far this series been destroying the Afreeca Freecs.
A lot of the players in Korea with defined playstyles, outside of maybe SKT, kind of fell away this year, you know, like Prey and Smeb and all those players we used to shout and scream about.
Even Score, right?
So to see like Deft, one of those same era players, still rocking it is really cool to see. I was actually doing some math and hold the point.
Yep, no time for math right now. The flash does come out from Rascal to take him to safety, but the World End also was utilized as Cuzz is going to steal away a blue buff, understanding that Dread was on top side of the map.
Do you want to hear an interesting quick stat?
Yeah, give me the quick stat. Is it about dragons?
FLICKR is the only player in the LCK still there from the first LCK split of 2015 spring. That's played in every split.
Score, right?
That's played in every split since 2015 spring. It's actually just him. So that's not 2012. That's 2015 spring.
Yeah.
And there was one.
Wow.
With Score gone now, you know, there's just no one left.
The old guard is gone. It's out with the old, in with the new, but
TusiN
thankfully
played
a lot
in
of
that
the new
split,
has
but left.
stepped
But
up.
I'm saying in terms of playing every season from 2015 spring, when we hit to 2020 and we expect FLICKR to still be there, he will have been the only one.
Yep. And, you know, Deft is spending a hiatus over at...
okay,
that was really cute. Threads the needle.
Oh, got the other one,
gets
too.
the second change.
At some point, that's just... we need a replay.
Yeah.
Can we pause?
I want that in ultra slow motion just to see it wander past the minions.
Some of those players really do bend it like Beckham.
They do.
It's very impressive.
Naehyun's LeBlanc has been on point today.
Even though this game feels very decided, mostly because of Dread's kind of turbo int in the bot lane.
Yeah.
Hold lead's not massive by any means, but the tempo, you know, the control of the pace of this game. King Zone's deciding everything, and Afreeca's kind of dealing with it. Is our current place. As what's Dread up to? He's AFK. I mean, I think he probably knows what's up here, though.
He's waiting for Rascal to come back. And then he's going to hear Shelly yell, and he's going to feel a bit silly, unless Rascal's going to face check and finds Dread. And now moves comfortably over to his turret. It's called Ships in the Night, and not the kind of ships that are on Afreeca's side. As Cuzz goes over, notices that Agatha is missing, and he then realizes that he traded a Rift Herald for a Gromp.
That was a Sungwon maneuver from good old Dread.
Yeah.
Sungwon was a previous hide-on-bush player. He loved to, we had him, what, 2.5 minutes one time?
He was certainly, he was diligent. He was one of those people that could work for the National Geographic, you know, waiting for those perfect tiger moments as they walk past. He's like in a weird cabin for like 2 years.
Have you seen the Family Guy parody of that?
No?
The fire truck? It's actually really funny.
Oh my god, I need to watch it. I need to watch it for my LCK
I think if you Google Family Guy fire truck, it'll probably come up.
Alright.
Maybe nature documentary or something.
If Afreeca somehow managed to claw back this game, I'll do the research. I apologize, I didn't do the reply.
We're going for a pick
TusiN,
here.
Yeah, dives in onto Senan. He's going to die before being able to use the Aftershock, but no, goes golden, keeps himself alive for a little bit longer, eventually dies as the Silas once again. Dives into the middle of the enemy team, and he's very dead. Kiin gets a huge slicing Maelstrom, is aiming. He dived in, but he just couldn't close the gap, and Kingzone have killed everyone apart from aiming, and Rascal wants to rectify that situation as well. They get the flash, TusiN doesn't die, and Kingzone are so far ahead.
They're just greedy Atlas. They're not sharing anything. They're taking everything for them. They'll share the gold with TusiN, but he deserves it. He's done some hard work, and it started with a Braum engage, and it ends with Afreeca comically far behind as the Ching is real on this bot lane gold pinata.
Yep, just eating all of these plates 13 minutes into the game. Perfect timing for Shelly to come down. They'll take this turret as well, as Deft is more than happy to go 1 versus 2 because TusiN was so incredibly low, and Cuzz going to solo out this Cloud Drake, get himself over this wall and continue amassing gigantic amounts of money.
Well, TusiN decided they would start fighting. There was a flank teleport coming, but it doesn't matter. Deft is already so strong. Even with the Ucal roaming up so quickly, it's the quality of the champions fighting now that's just not there. What did we say about Kingzone? 1 item, godlike. 2 items, even more godlike. That's the scenario we're in. We're around 1 to 2 items. And that's why you hear the confident claps from Hirai,
Acorn was pretty
Supreme,
happy.
Friends. Kingzone, no, they've done it.
Yeah, they've broken the Afreeca Freecs by the looks of things. And I don't know, man. I was ready for Dread to show us exactly how he managed to get to rank 3. You know, all of these whispers that we heard about how good his form was, it doesn't mean a lot if you can't back it up when it matters, when you're on the big stage with the last opportunity to go to Worlds on the line.
Well, I mean, Cuzz also having a godlike game.
He is.
100% kill participation already.
He's had a godlike series, actually, in
Yeah.
the games that they've won. His Rek'Sai was fantastic. His Gragas, of course, was amazing, topping the damage like he always seems to do. Now, the Jarvan seems completely immovable.
What do we say about Kingzone's struggles? Form check on the top 3. Where are they at? Rascal has been fine. Cuzz has been inspired. And Naehyun has been very good on the LeBlanc especially. So
Yeah.
the form check is passed. And to no one's surprise, Deft and TusiN, I should say, in great form.
Well, Deft and TusiN, that's a given. They are always just going to be good. And Deft is once again going to go for what looks like the Essence Reaver build after the Blade of the Ruined King. He sometimes toys with this build a little bit, almost builds like a Xayah or a Sivir on the Lucian, but has decided Blade of the Ruined King was necessary this game just to play more aggressively. Yep, and he's going to. Slicing Maelstrom does nothing. That probably could have been a 1v1, as Naehyun is going to finish it off in the end, but that got a little bit too close for comfort. Kingzone very comfortably take down the top laner as Rascal just maneuvers himself out. Cloud Drake helping a little.
Perfect game pace, and the harsh fact for Afreeca is that they're almost certainly going to lose this game, and they don't get any do-overs.
Nope.
Like, this could be the last game they play together. We don't know about the status of the Casper Cup. I guess there's an outside chance that's going to be a tournament they're still together for. But that was new rosters, if you remember.
Exactly, yeah. That's the thing. It's
last
quite
year,
late
so
in the year.
this roster may never play again if they lose this game, and that's why when you have games like this, where, you know, this is the surrender, the scrim moment, you're just kind of looking for a kill to get back some confidence.
Oh, the culling right underneath the turret as TusiN was the one tanking Dread. He picks up a culling of his own, but throws it right into a door, and the door is still standing.
This is where you just 5-man death squad and get a kill. That's what you need. No perfect game.
Yeah.
Is all you can really shoot for. I know the gold lead is not that massive, but 5,000 in 16 minutes with Infernal, with just how strong Kingzone will be, and the fact that Afreeca don't actually outscale by any means. Yeah, it's very clear where we're at in this game, and I'm sure that's not lost on Afreeca.
Yeah. The real worry is that the item spikes that are coming very, very soon for Kingzone are just disgusting. As we have a look at this once again, Naehyun diving a turret pretty happily.
He's very good at things.
He is. And Even is in the more aggressive position after that one.
Remember when we talked about how the moment Cuzz got 2 kills, he's going to be unkillable Jarvan? Let me introduce you to Gargo Stoneplay and another Ruby at 17 minutes into the game.
Oh, God. And there's a lot of champions that want to do auto attacks, and he has the Ninja Tabi. Like, that's high value also.
Ucal's like, I've got flat penetration. Yeah, let me get you. How do you feel about my jerk?
And Cuzz says he doesn't feel it. Not even a little bit. As the Afreeca Freecs trying to defend their outer turret in the mid lane. They are going to, as Cuzz is spotted on a ward. But, yeah, that's Afreeca Freecs saying, yeah, we can see exactly where he is. He's got no information. Wait, we can't kill him.
You caught
at all.
Cuzz.
Wait, they almost did and damage. Did they? Did they? Okay. Claws his way out as Dread. Is he going to throw his life away once again? Yes, he is. Dives right in on top. Cuzz taking a lot of damage. Dread does die as Slicing Maelstrom's trying to take down TusiN, but he goes golden. The culling onto Kiin as Naehyun gets rid of Nautilus as Aiming dives in to the back line. It will be a suicide mission, though, as Rascal looking to jump on top of Ucal. He does so, and Rascal just celebrates by pressing R, running to the mid lane after the King Zone ace.
Sometimes you got to twist and shout, as does Rascal in this case. This dirty Rascal. He's going to get through and push down the mid lane. Out of turret. How about an Ocean Drake to be slowly taken down by Cuzz? They averted the perfect game. They got something going for them.
Yep, there you go, Afreeca. Not going to fall to the perfect game, but 7,000 gold lead at 18.5 minutes into this game. This game feels about as over as it can be. Essence Reaver is completed here for Deft. He was one of the people to go down and still has a gold bounty on his head after that is all said and done. It shows how far ahead King Zone were. As, engaging onto Cuzz.
And for the Ambition RN EQ out. Dread actually did a lot of damage with his stolen Cataclysm.
Yeah.
It was cool, but obviously only really a one-way trip into the death chamber for him. Kiin almost culled to begin this all, and yeah, Afreeca are able to get a little bit of pride back with some kills, but it was only always going to be a little bit.
TusiN also, I believe, was going to burn to death to Ucal. So it's a bit of a shame that Aiming had to throw himself away there, but did manage to pick up the kill, and now has a Rage Blade to his name also. I mean, maybe in the Kai'Sa we trust could be the thought process here as Kiin's looking for Morellonomicon as item number 2. I value this game, actually, not the LS meme this time around. When you're up against an Aatrox, Morellonomicon, pretty good item. The problem is, Kiin is a team fighter, and he won't have a Zhonya's Hourglass for a very long time.
Also, he needs kind of Morellonomicon, Void Staff, and Zhonya's. Yeah. And if he had all 3 of those, I think they still lose.
Yeah. Not a lot of good news here for Afreeca Freecs as King Zone piling their way through. Ucal.
He hit that chain too.
Another chain
yeah,
land.
Yeah, that's normal.
It's a targeted ability. It's like old Rise. As King Zone are not going to check that brush. And Afreeca are losing a hell of a lot of money on the bottom side.
I mean,
Ucal has to go back.
Cuzz absolutely can check that brush.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Just keep your EQ up to EQ out. You can definitely face check it.
Does he even need to do that? How long does it take Afreeca to kill Cuzz? A long time.
Yeah, a really long time.
Oh, he's even got a Spectre's Cowl now as well.
Yeah, I know. He's building magic resist even further to heal off of the Slicing Maelstrom, I guess.
As Ucal not going to get
he missed one.
Oh my goodness, as Rascal, World Ender is up, but there's no Morellonomicon, remember. That's a good knock-up as Aiming wants to get in there, but Rascal's going to take the 2v1, not mind about it, and deliver himself to the turret instead. Aiming does get kill credit for that one, but 1 for 1 is not what you want.
With 2 people invested as well. Is not ideal, but you'll take any kills you can get against the flow here if you're Afreeca Freecs. So definitely not the easiest calculation of all time. Culling hijacked, but it is a level 1 culling.
Yeah, and culling feeling a little bit better coming out of Deft there as well. Of course, does scale with AP, and especially when it's picked up from Dread, as that's a decent ultimate coming out from TusiN as Cuzz once again doing the ambition trick and easily takes down the Nautilus before he can even think of trying to re-engage. And a turret going to go down. Good God, that burst damage from the LeBlanc. 4-0 and 10. Damn, I'm so sad that there's no MVPs, Cuzz probably should have got 3 for this game.
I'm pretty sad we didn't sub in Valdez for this one because the Wabam potential is very loud.
That's true. I apologize.
This is
guys.
some real Wabamming. We haven't had it. We've had proverbial Wabamming for a while, but this is some Wabam.
Are you proud of me though? I still haven't said Wabam.
I'm very impressed.
Because it is, it's the LS thing, and
No, it's the Valdez thing.
Sorry, LS thing, the Valdez thing, and it's not my thing. It is so much fun.
It is really fun to say Wabam. I'm completely in agreement there.
Well, rapid fire cannon done for Deft as we have a look at Senan just being murdered underneath his turret.
He's really, really far ahead, and Cuzz also doesn't take damage.
Yeah. Yeah. He just wanders in, presses R, and then he moves the opposite direction. Easy. Happens relatively consistently.
He is not at 100% kill participation anymore, so he's been made mortal.
That's true. Only missed out on one of them, though. And that's probably because people are dying too fast.
I think he's sitting on quite a lot of gold because he had the same items before, and I guess he really wants to buy Adaptive Helm, so he's trying to buy it pretty straight up. What is it from here? Like a rejuve bead and a really expensive recipe, I think?
Yeah.
So I guess he just went double control ward to do the team vision thing while he held on to the better part of 800 plus gold.
And also, I mean, if he's just patrolling the jungle here, he's creating a wall that Afreeca just straight up can't walk through. So as long as Cuzz stays on the map, there's not a lot that they can do. As once again, another Cataclysm flies in. Deft, the depth charge is on top of him, but no one can follow up, and Senan's just going to die even through the Aftershock.
Cuzz is healing!
Yeah, good God, aiming dives on forward. Oh my God, Deft is still alive! As Kiin can't do enough. That's what happens when your wallets are this damn heavy. And Ucal can't do anything against Rascal, who will just smash him in the face with his gigantic sword. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, that was all she wrote. The inhibitor turret is going to go down, and this should be just the game for KingZone.
KingZone look in renewed form, almost the same as the last time we could say that back at Rift Rivals 2019. KingZone want to go to Worlds, and Afreeca certainly won't be the team that will stop them.
Yep, 24 minutes into this game, Senan is an afterthought as he pops underneath the Nexus turret. Second one going to go down here as Dread has been not having the best game of his life, and they're not even going to look at him. He tries to flash onto Deft, but he's going to die. Cuzz grabs that kill, and now KingZone just want to mop this one up before the Nexus goes down, but they can't do that. Too much damage, and a 3-1 for KingZone Dragon X as they take down the Afreeca Freecs.
And this could be oh so important because KingZone off the boil for the better part of 2 months, but back from dead after game number 1. They put in 3 really impressive games where a lot of the plaudits will go topside, and also Deft and TusiN did their thing in bot. This is also an important result, Atlas, because it confirms that none of the 2018 representatives will be going back to Worlds. Afreeca Freecs, the last team in with a shout. 10G not qualifying for the Gauntlet, and KT 8th place in summer season. Congratulations to KingZone. It would be some weird world where our spring champions into missing Worlds in 2018 could actually qualify. They're only 2 best of 5s away.
Yep, through Sandbox and then through Damwon is KingZone's road to victory here, and one of those 3 teams will be our 3rd representative heading towards the play-ins at the World Championship this year. And if KingZone keep playing like this, remember they lost game 1 as well, so it's even a better test as far as reading how this KingZone roster are feeling, because if it was a 3-0 sweep, there'd still be question marks about, like, well, if they didn't have, you know, the dream run through and didn't win every single game, then what would their mental be like? But they came off a loss at the beginning of this series and turned it instantly.
And this means something and nothing, but KingZone played better against Afreeca than SKT did against Afreeca.
Yeah.
And while that's not in any way a power ranking thing, that's a KingZone seems pretty good thing when it comes to what they're looking like. Big smiles around the org that has definitely not been filled by those publicly. And you look at their remaining teams, recently 0-6 in their recent games, and you think, should I believe in KingZone Dragon X as the team to represent the LCK in play-ins? The Sandbox and Damwon need to show that their boom was temporary and not enough to keep them away. from a best-of-5 victory.
And it also shows that there is now a big test for our brand new teams, Damwon and Sandbox, in order to prove themselves. It's not like Kingzone are going to be that pushover that a lot of people were expecting them to be moving into this Worlds qualifier. They had a very lackluster end to the series. Remember, KT Rolster avoided relegation by taking down Kingzone in that 2-1 victory in their last regular season match. Kingzone certainly a huge fall from grace. But as far as whether they've stopped falling from the cliff is concerned, I think this has definitely given us an answer.
Oh, because they did it in style, right? Afreeca were not great in this series, and Kingzone obviously had a poor game 1, but then they went in there, they did things, and especially the last 2 games were pretty good League of Legends on their part, so Kingzone suddenly have something approximating momentum for the first time in a long time. Ever since the rumors came up about their oil problems, all of their games were varying degrees of awful. They beat Jinair, but, you know, they didn't look great doing it.
No.
Those last couple of games, especially with some vintage Kingzone, again, I'm remembering Rift Rivals and comparing them where they were really those big stars, and it was nice to see it as a team performance. Who was Kingzone's best player? Who was their worst player? Is pretty hard to actually stat rank. I think Cuzz probably wins out on best. He had plenty of people backing him up.
Yeah, I think TusiN was fantastic this series. I think that Naehyun as well had a standout on an aggressive champion from the mid lane as well in that LeBlanc. So just really good stuff across the board.
Isn't there something cool about the fact that maybe we'll have Deft running around play-ins?
Well,
if you're a play-ins team, on the one hand, you'd be like, oh, you should be terrified, but I bet you're just hyped, right? Like, if you're the OCE team, you dream of playing against Deft. You never got to. You never made it to a World Championship. There never was a Korean team in play-ins, and we could be fielding one of the greatest 80 carries of all time in the play-in state.
Yep, shout out to Mammoth there. Congratulations for qualifying, and maybe it's going to be Deft and TusiN that your bottom lane has to face. A scary prospect, but a real exciting one. You're exactly right. And I think a lot of just League of Legends players, pro players, want to be playing against the best opposition at all times.
You know how everyone gets hyped when, you know, like everyone comes into the same solo queue? European solo queue with the Worlds players, everyone loves to see that melting pot. Just having Korean players in play-ins will be, let's test my skills against people I could just never get access to scrims against, is something that could happen, and it could be Deft, could be Ghost, could be Nuclear, we don't know, but Deft is still in with a shout, and no one was really predicting that before today.
Yeah, a really, really huge win for Kingzone Dragon X, and we'll see whether that momentum is going to build. Thursday just became even more exciting. Because it was going to be cool, right? And I was expecting it to be Afreeca versus Sandbox, which would be a fun matchup, but now that it's Kingzone and a return to form situation, oh man, it got real spicy.
A lot of good clearly happened in the Kingzone house in the last couple of weeks. My greatest frustration about playoffs is that every team that had time didn't appear to use it very smartly and didn't have any new stuff. Kingzone have put their time in and look way better than the team that whimpered against KT Rolster. So credit to them. Afreeca goes out in straight sets in wildcard and now the first best of 5. But Kingzone have got some fighting going.
Minutes.
Yep, this was a shellacking.
That was an absolute
22
shellacking.
kills in 24 minutes, 25 overall.
In fact, the definition of a shellacking is any game won before 25 minutes, as described by Spawn, who coined the word in its League of Legends terms.
Okay, as long as no one actually believes he invented shellacking.
No, he didn't. But when it comes to League of Legends, it's a pre-25-minute victory. That's a shellacking.
I didn't know that, but I'll go with it.
That's what he told me. He learned me that one. Yep. That's what I learned.
Oh, Papa Spawn, you are so learned.
Thank you very much. But guys, that is going to mean that Kingzone in a very surprising victory.
And we get an interview. I wonder if we'll pick their brain on just what they've been doing to get to this level of performance.
Let's hear from G-Sun now as we get some translation.
오늘 킹존 승리의 주역 커즈 선수, 내현 선수 모실게요. 안녕하세요.
We'll be hearing from Cuzz and Naehyun from Kingdom Dragon X, taking down Afreeca Freecs today. Congratulations on the win. So, a lot of fans are wondering if your performance would be back by today. So what was the focal point in the preparation?
일단 개개인의
So
그
the
피지컬적인 부분을 일단
mechanics of the
끌어올리도록
individual
좀
players.
솔링도 더 열심히 하고
So we played
많이
solo
했고
queue a lot.
또 팀적인
And also
것도
as a
많이
team, we also
연습했습니다.
prepared a lot
네,
as
오늘
well.
정말 확연히 달라진 모습 볼 수 있었습니다. 그리고 오늘 경기 내현
And
선수
in today's
패승승으로
performance, Naehyun,
역전승 가져왔는데요.
Losing just first
전반적으로
game, you guys were able to
만족스러우신지
come back
들어보실까요?
in the consecutive games.
처음에는 3대 0 하면 좋겠다 싶었는데
Well, we
처음에
wanted
첫판
the
져가지고
3-0 victory, but we lost the first game.
뭐 이제 승승승하면 되겠지.
So we
이런
thought
마인드로 하고
like
있었습니다.
let's just get
정말
3 games in a
승승승을
row.
이뤄냈습니다. 1세트 아쉽게 내줬지만 2세트 승부수를 제대로 던졌었는데요.
So game
코드
2,
선수와 함께
you guys are trying new tricks. Yasu, Gragas back on the Rift, and also TusiN played Pike on support. Yasu Gragas is the undefeated composition in King Zone.
일단 야라가스는
Well, the Yasu Gragas comp,
좀
well,
자신 있고
because is really
Gragas의
confident in
신이거든요.
Gragas. He's the god of Gragas.
그리고 저도 야소는
And me as well, I'm really confident in Yasuo, so we kind of felt like it's just impossible to lose when we go for Yasuo and Gragas. What about the Pike support?
분위기가 딱 보기에 파이크 각인 것 같아서
Well,
최근
TusiN,
파이크도
I
잘
think
되고
he thought that this was
그래서
the
그냥
situation
좋았던
for
것 같아요. 종이도
Pike,
파이크
so
잘하고.
he's also good at Pike. So we locked in for the final pick in game number 2.
조합의 힘은 마지막 교전에서 폭발을 했는데요.
So we could
드라가스의
see
힘,
how
코드
explosive
선수와
that
얘기
composition
나눠보도록
was in game
하겠습니다.
number
화면으로
2.
만나보시죠.
Let's check out this highlight.
그림 같은
This was the
상대가
perfect
대처하기 어려울
engagement
거라고
and the final
판단하셨는지
team fight for
테마
game
어땠는지
2.
얘기 들어볼게요.
일단 미드라인을 푸시 주도권을 잡기 위해서
So we wanted to control in the mid lane,
나와서 이제
and I see the
먼저
angle
이제
for
킬이
my
빠지거나
ultimate.
저희가 크게 이득 보는 상황이라서
So maybe we could just burn up the summoner spells, or we can just win the game.
끝났던 것 같아요.
And that was the good angle,
이렇게
but
야라가스로 완벽한
actually
모습을
Afreeca
보여줬기
players were
때문에
holding up to their
3세트
flag, so we were
상대방이
able to close out the
가져갈
game
건
after that
충분히
fight.
예상하셨을 거라고 생각을 하거든요. 그런데 야스오도 풀어주고
So it was quite unexpectable that Afreeca was opening Yasuo, and also you guys also opened Talia as well.
저희가 다른 것들을 풀어도 이길 수 있다고
We had
자신감이
the
붙었고 또 준비되어
confidence
있었기
that
때문에
we were able to kind
풀어주고
of fight
상대했던 것
against the picks that Afreeca Freecs are good at.
탈리아 풀어주는 부담은 없으셨는지
Weren't you feeling a little bit pressure about opening Talia for Ucal?
우칼 선수가 엄청 잘 다루기 때문에
Well, Ucal is really good at
많이
Talia,
움직이시는데
and he
그것도
roams a lot in
부담이죠.
early phase.
어떻게 보면 저는 이득이
But
딴 손해 보는
because we
거잖아요.
are aware of
저는
that
상관이 없는데
tactics,
딴
we
고통받긴
well,
하는데
maybe other players in the other lanes
잘
was
버텨줘서
suffering from it, but everyone was
같아요.
actually doing a
네,
great job, so we were
긍정적으로
able to
정말
kind
잘
of
풀어냈습니다.
counter it with our own
선수들은
strategy and win the
엎치락뒤치락하는
game.
과정에서 킹존이 좀 힘든 순간들도
But game
있었습니다.
3 was
하지만
going back and
득점에서의
forth a little
한
bit.
방으로
However,
완전히
this fight in the
뒤집어졌죠.
bot
코드
lane
선수의 힘을
turned the
제대로
whole
보여줬습니다.
game
이
around.
장면 만나보도록 할게요. 코드 선수 어떻게 살았던 건가요?
So how did you
근데 이제
survive that?
솔직히 말해서 안 좋게 물렸는데
Well,
방영이 아래서
that was a bad
발표를
performance, to be
사람아
honest.
알수를 잘
I got
맞춰서
caught out,
이제를
but at
물면서
first
시작하는
Rascal
좋은
landed
그림이
his
나와가지고
RQ,
이렇게 됐던 것 같아요.
and all the other players were in a great position, so we were able to win that fight. I think all the remaining players were doing such a great job.
잡아내는 모습이 나왔습니다. 자, 그리고 이어서 내현 선수의 보이스가
Naehyun,
나오는데요.
we were able to hear your mic check
나이스.
천천히 하자.
네블랑 뭐야 네블랑.
saying it's a Neblanc instead of LeBlanc.
그만.
And oh, it's
달달.
good.
이게 궁금한 게
I
내현
wanna
선수
ask you,
안도의 한숨인지 아니면
Was that a
승리에 대한
sigh of relief
감탄인지,
or
승리에
amazement to
대한
your own performance,
확신이
or
있는 미소였는지 어떤 생각이었는지
green about the
들어볼까요?
victory coming
이거
in?
보기 전에는 이겼으니까 마음이
Well,
놓인다라고
before
말을
watching
했는데
this, I thought it's gonna be
보니까
a
살짝
relief,
거만한 표정이
but I
보이는
look a little bit cocky at that
저때 상황인
moment.
거 보면은 이
Well,
네블랑이다
maybe
딱
I think I was
보였던 것
too proud of myself about the Neblanc I
그런
played.
말이 딱 어울릴 정도로 3세트 르블랑 활약이 정말 대단했잖아요.
Well, I mean,
아니,
it was
데프트
really
선수가
obvious because your
왜
LeBlanc
이제야
was controlling
르블랑이냐
game
이런 얘기를
3
할
and
정도로 저도
4.
정말 공감이
And
갔는데
Deft was
내현 선수 왜
saying
이제야
that
르블랑
why haven't you
꺼내셨나요?
playing LeBlanc so far?
사실 저는 살짝 자신이 좀 없었는데
Well,
최근에
actually, I I was not feeling
애들이랑 같이
confident
애들이나
playing
코치님이나
LeBlanc.
감독님이
However,
저
recently
자신감을 좀
with the
많이
coaching
켜주심이
staff
있어서
and all the teammates, they were
이번에
boosting my
드디어 꺼낼 수 있지
confidence.
않았나
So finally,
싶었던
I was able to play
네,
LeBlanc.
오늘 경기로 확실히 자신감 얻으셨을 거라고 생각을 합니다. 자, 이렇게 오늘 킹존이 정말 잘 풀어냈습니다. 커즈 선수 뭐 오늘
Got this
전나인
victory
선수들
today
다
up against
잘해줬지만
Afreeca,
특별히 이
All the
선수
five
좀 많이
players were doing
고생했다
their
하는
job
선수
perfectly.
있을까요?
However, is there an
나
MVP
오늘
of
정희
your
형이
personal
아침에
vote?
일어났는데 갑자기 너무
Well,
아프셔
today
해가지고
actually
병원에
TusiN was
다녀와서
feeling
좀
really bad. He went to the
준비도
hospital before
좀잘
game,
못하고
so
했는데
he wasn't really
그래도
fully
경기
set up for
선수들까지
games. However, he was
잘해줘서
concentrating
너무
so hard until the game number 4. So I want to say TusiN is the real MVP.
투혼을 발휘하기도 했습니다. 경기 중간에 좀 힘들어하는 모습은 없었나요?
Was he feeling
힘들어하는
okay?
모습을 안 보여주시긴 했어요.
Well, he didn't really show he was feeling bad during games, but
같이 힘내서 할 수 있었던 것
thanks to
같아요.
him, we were able to all just cheer up and go all into the game.
선수들이 모두 힘을 발휘할 수 있었습니다. 이렇게 패승승승으로 선발전 1차전
So with
승리로
this 3-2-1
가져왔고요. 이제
score,
다음 상대가
King
샌드박스예요.
Zone won the
첼시
first round
출신들
of the
모두 꺾고
World's
그리고
Qualifier.
진출해야겠죠. 커즈 선수 각오 먼저
So
들어볼까요?
how are we going to prepare for the next stage?
일단 장황하지 않고
We
샌드박스
won't
전까지
be too
이제
excited. We will do our best to
있는데
prepare for the Sandbox
열심히
series.
준비해서 꼭 모든 걸 쏟아붓고 싶어요.
So we will just
좋은
go
모습
all in for that
보여드리겠습니다.
match.
네, 기대하겠습니다. 그리고 내현 선수
And Naehyun.
아무래도 킹존 선수들도 아쉬웠겠지만 서머 마무리가 좀 부진하게 끝났기 때문에
King Zone was
팬분들도
having a
걱정이
hard
많았을
time
거예요.
going
이제
to
걱정
the
안
very
하셔도
end of the
된다고
regular split.
팬분들께
So
자신 있게 한
I
말씀
think
부탁드려도
fans were
될까요?
also having a hard time supporting King Zone. So any
처음에는
message for
살짝
them as
자신이
well?
없었는데 이제는 자신감이 좀
Well, I lost
앞으로
some of my
올랐거든요.
confidence
이제 좀
in the end of the split,
믿고
but it's now back.
믿어주시길
So
바라겠습니다.
please
열심히
trust
하겠습니다.
us and we will do our best.
네, 팬분들은 언제나 믿음 있게 킹존을 지켜볼 거라고
I believe
생각을
all the
합니다. 오늘
fans
정말
will be believing
축하드리고요.
and trusting
저희는
King Zone.
이틀 뒤에
And we will
뵙도록
see you in
하겠습니다.
2 days.
감사합니다.
This will be the end of the
감사합니다.
interview with Cuzz and Naehyun from
네, 커즈
King
선수,
Zone.
내현
I'm gonna
선수
pass it back to our
함께했습니다.
casters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jisun, as usual, for your interview translation. Naehyun saying some pretty choice words when it comes to getting the trust back for King Zone, because that has been a very difficult thing in the past, no matter what iteration of the squad it is, and now you're going to need it up against Sandbox, the second team on the SKT chopping block.
Very interesting to see how King Zone versus Sandbox goes. They've met recently, but that was 2-0 for Sandbox when King Zone was kind of at their lowest ebb. It was 2-0 in the first round robin. So here's to hoping we get a competitive series. This one, in the end, proved not to be, despite starting with the Afreeca victory.
The 200 gold lead in getting number one, right? Like,
Commiserations to Afreeca. I think their young players have a great core. They should fight to keep this roster. I think they can do a lot there, or maybe sub out one player for a more experienced player. Definitely keep up Nofe, but that's the end of their 2019. We come back on on Thursday to work out where we go.
Exactly right, but that is going to be it for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on Thursday.
You take me higher when I feel low. Make my world brighter when I'm alone. I keep on rolling, all with your fuel. You're like my gasoline that makes my dream come